Hello everyone. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about the uses of the imperfect tense in Spanish, or el tiempo imperfecto. So let's begin. So before beginning with the rules, we're going to understand what are the English equivalents of the Spanish imperfect. There are 4 equivalents. The first one is the simple past. So for example, the designer talked about the most important styles of the decade. So notice that in English you use the simple past to talk, but in Spanish that could be an equivalent of the imperfect. So the second equivalent is the past progressive. Let's take a look at the sentence again. The designer was talking about the most important styles of the decade. So notice that in English you use the progressive form, which is the verb to be, was, plus a verb ending in ing. The third and fourth equivalent are with the expressions would or used to plus a verb in infinitive. And these expressions are used to express habitual actions in the past. So if we look at the sentence now, the designer would or used to talk about the most important styles of the decade. So notice that in this case, I'm expressing that the action was something that the designer did regularly in the past. And although in English you use would or used to plus the verb in infinitive, in Spanish you use the imperfect. So in sum, when in English you use either the simple past, the past progressive, or the expression would or used to plus the verb in infinitive, in Spanish you use the imperfect tense. So our previous sentence in Spanish will be el diseñador hablaba de las modas más importantes de la década. And notice that the verb hablar is in the imperfect tense, hablaba. So now let's take a look at the uses of the imperfect. Caperucita Roja jugaba en el bosque mientras caminaba a la casa de su abuelita. When we want to express two actions that happened simultaneously in the past, we use the imperfect tense in Spanish. So in this case, the sentence is jugaba, she played, while, mientras, caminaba. These two actions happen at the same time. El lobo siempre engañaba a los animales del bosque. When we want to express habitual, continuous, or repeated actions in the past, we use the imperfect. Notice that these actions do not have a clear beginning or end. Keywords are, for instance, nunca, never, or por lo general, in general. Our third use, el lobo era mentiroso. Tenía las orejas y los dientes grandes y quería comerse a Caperucita. Every time we want to give physical descriptions or talk about personality traits in the past, including opinions, we use the imperfect tense. Our last use, eran las 4 de la tarde y hacía frío. cuando el lobo entró a la casa de la abuelita. So when we provide background information, such as weather or time, we use the imperfect tense. Basically, any extra description or detail in the story. So you already know that when a verb ends in aere, all you do is you change the ending to aba. And when the verbs end in iere or eere, you change the ending to iba to form the imperfect tense. But there are 3 irregular verbs in the imperfect tense in Spanish. The first one, ir, yo iba, tú ibas, él, ella iba, nosotros íbamos, and please notice the accent, and ellos, ellas, ustedes iban. The second irregular verb is ser. Yo era, tú eras, él, ella, usted era, nosotros éramos, ellos, ellas, ustedes eran. And again, notice the accent in the e, in the form of nosotros, in éramos. And the last irregular verb is ver. Yo veía, tú veías, él, ella, usted veía, nosotros veíamos, ellos, ellas, ustedes veían. And notice that the verb ver has an accent in all the forms. So, in summary, we use the imperfect tense in Spanish to express past progressive actions. For example, she was talking. We simply say, ella hablaba. We also use the imperfect tense to give descriptions, whether are physical descriptions or personality traits. And the third use is to provide background information about the story. And that's it for today.